All right. Good evening, everyone. Grant Hubbard here with another Gutter Growth podcast. And I've got our tax guy back, the Flex Keeper, CPA. He knows his business. You guys need to reach out to him. Jason, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Grant? Thanks for having me back.
Of course. Thanks, man. It's this is your busy season, right? So I actually been trying to reach out to you, and I know you've got a lot going on. So kind of just reintroduce yourself if people might not have gone that far back in our podcast because we're cooking with gasoline over here, but just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Jason Plett, CPA. I am partners in a business called the Flex Keeper, and we do tax keeping and bookkeeping and also fractional CFO services for a wide range of clients. We're based here in South Florida, and we're just wrapping up tax season now. You think that tax season runs, kind of January through April 15th, but for us, it trickles over into May and even June.
Oh
So we're
wow.
we're we're still kind of in the middle of it, but once 415 hits, people get extensions and they kind of breathe a sigh of relief, and then
Mm-hmm.
they kind of the pressure goes away to get those returns done uh, before a certain deadline.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Where's everybody at right now? Like what's the feel for this year that you've got with your clients? Are you pretty much done or you still got
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done. I'm still working on a bunch of more complex tax returns. I think
mm-hmm.
my biggest thing is that, and one of the things I do want to talk about with regards to tax season is that people get really squirrely. I don't know if that's a proper
Yeah.
accounting terminology, but they get really squirrely when they hear extensions, and so everybody starts giving you the business up until 415,
Okay.
and they really want to get, I even have people come in, 414, like, oh, we got to file a tax return tomorrow, like, can I send you my stuff and get it done? And of course the answer is no.
Yep.
I'll be more than happy to file an extension and work on your return in the next couple of weeks and get it done in a fairly timely manner. But,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to file an extension. And I kind of just want everybody out there that's listening to this, like, when your accountant talks about filing an extension, it's not a bad thing. And
Okay.
it's not going to get you audited. And the IRS isn't going to look crossways at your tax return or examine it any closer than they would if we filed it before 415.
Okay.
So filing an extension is not a bad thing. It gives your accountant a little peace of mind and also a little extra breathing room to make sure your tax return is correct, instead of filing something that, was hastily done. So extensions, that's a myth. It's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Um, Listen, I even, as a CPA, I crunched the numbers. And for the amount of tax returns that I filed last season, starting February 1st, I would have had to file 7.5 returns a day, 7 days a week, to
Gee.
file all the all the tax returns that I have on my plate by April 15th. So
Uh-huh.
um, at the end of the day, I ended up filing approximately 200 tax returns before the deadline, which worked out to about 2.5 tax returns a day, working 7 days a week. I, of course, didn't work 7 days a week. I took a day off, but that's just to give you an idea of the volume of business that at least I deal with as a very small sole practitioner boutique CPA firm. Um, I, of course, told my partners, those are kind of rookie numbers. Next year, I want to get it up to at least three.
Yeah.
Um,
Very cool.
so, but I mean, sometimes, when you have a crush of business, and especially if there's deadlines attached to it, um, there can be a fairly astounding pressure that you put on yourself to get things done. So,
Absolutely.
anyways, that's kind of just a little wrap up of our tax season.
Tax season update right there. Okay.
Yep.
And then got some QB tips from the season.
Yeah. So, as you know, we were able to sign a couple of gutter companies, thanks to you and your efforts and our podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that we take away from that is a lot of you guys are doing QuickBooks Online, which is great. We love that. That's a very simple, easy system for us to work on.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing that I take away from that most people, they start running their QuickBooks and they attach their bank to it and it's all good. You got the bank feeds coming in and you're categorizing your expenses and all of this. And, you feel like you've got a handle on things. And then you send the QBO to your accountant or, potentially us. And we look at it and we say, wow, did you have $150,000 of income last year? And, generally I get some blank stares. And then, I dig into the QuickBooks and I find out that you guys are doing this wonderful thing called invoicing through your QuickBooks, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when you get a deposit in, you're posting it to sales. So essentially you're double counting your sales. So I found that, and it's not just confined to the gutter industry.
Right,
of course, we
right.
have a lot of trades that we do work for, and that's predominantly the biggest QuickBooks problem that we have. And that
Okay.
is that when you bank feed in, you got to match those deposits to the invoice that's sitting out there.
Great information. Okay.
And that's, I hate to give away my trade secrets and everyone figures out how to do payments, but that's not as easy as it seems. So you still need to come to me and have me show you how to do that, or just pay me to do it for you.
Just pay the man. This podcast is sponsored by One Gutter Guard, the premium gutter guard that delivers the highest performance, quality, and value to your customers. From its different mesh filters to its unibody construction, One Gutter Guard can be the difference maker in your business. Are you interested in becoming part of the exclusive dealer network? Contact them today at onegutterguard.com or just give them a call. Now back to our show.
But the consequence of that is that you give your accountant or the guy that you've hired to engage and prepare your tax return, your profit and loss statement, and you pay tax on double the income.
Right.
And that's never getting a tax bill on double the income, especially on income that you didn't actually make, can be a kind of a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Of course, most people realize the error when they get the tax bill, so they're not paying income tax on that. But that's one of the biggest things that we see with the QuickBooks. And then I think the last time we talked about, assigning rules to these things.
Yes.
That's become such a big problem that, just an update to that, QuickBooks is actually doing away with that functionality because
Why is
there's so
that?
many problems with it.
Okay.
Because people put on a rule and then QuickBooks does their magic in the background, and then it actually becomes more work than what the rule saves. And so, us as accountants, I think, went out and complained to QuickBooks and said, hey, you're trying to make this easy for the customer, but you're actually making more work for us as the accountants who end up having to clean this stuff up.
Okay.
And so their QuickBooks response was like, we're just going to house this rule stuff. And now, you as a client either figure out how to categorize your bank transactions appropriately, or you hire a professional to do it and you don't have to worry about doing the work. So
How much time, like, just rough statement, of course, this is a very broad question, but like, how much time do you think on average, just the average gutter owner or even just small business owner in America, if they don't hire the professional, like, to actually kind of do it the right way, not as good as you, but the right way, where they showed you their books and you were like, okay, we clean this up a little bit, but this ain't too bad. How much time do they need to spend a week? And let's say $1 million or less company, $500,000, $600,000 gross.
Yeah. So you're probably looking at least 5 hours a week. Um, especially if you're not used to using QuickBooks or a
This is a
product like
basic
that.
understanding of it. Now, what
Yeah.
about like the guy who needs to read QuickBook for Dummies? He just bought it. He's about to double and triple track everything, and he's gonna be what? Probably 10 hours pulling his hair out or
At least
more.
10, at least 10 hours, at
Okay.
least 10 hours. And what I actually find, um, is that the actual business owner, um, punts on that, and they're like, I really don't have 10 hours in my week. So I'm going to enlist
They just short it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to enlist the help of my wife because she's not really doing anything, right? She's not
Mhm.
running the house or taking care of the kids or doing anything like
We
that.
had a
She
good
needs to get
we had a good laugh about that one last
yeah,
time. Remember, I was like, "Whose wife is
exactly.
that?" So
But
she's gonna come in and punt again, essentially, right?
yeah, because she doesn't want to learn that stuff. And even, listen, we're equal. I know we made this joke the last time too, but
Yeah.
we're equal opportunity
Yeah.
uh insulters. And
Yeah.
so, maybe if you have a husband or you have two wives, it's the significant other's
Yeah.
job is what we should
Exactly.
say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
and and
some
that
of these
never works
women and
out.
these men, they obviously a couple, right? They know what they're doing and they're a blessing to the company. But most, right? They're like,
Right.
"Hey, honey, like you said, hey, you're not really working or doing anything, so here, you're good at doing the budget and our family business, like the home.
Right.
You should do this,
Right.
and just a different game."
Yeah, no, for sure. And in contrast, I always like to talk about, when you hire a professional, like just think about if you're spending 5 to 10 hours a week, it's probably only going to take us 2 to 3 hours a week to do the same thing. And we can maybe even quarter that. We can maybe only spend 2 to 3 hours a month because we know what we're looking at. And we just want people to know, like, hey, what is the value that you're getting? Like, what is 5 hours or 10 hours of your time worth? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter that it only takes us 3 hours. Like,
Mhm.
what is your time worth? And if if you're billing yourself out at $100 an hour and you've got to spend 10 hours a week doing this stuff, you're costing yourself $1,000 and you may be only paying us a couple of hundred.
Yeah.
So really look at it in that grand scheme of things and go from there.
What what is the worst case scenario of small business owner again? I said a million. That was obviously let's just call it around $500,000, like a true newer small business owner, garage doors, painting, whatever the heck, gross income. Like, what is that worst case scenario? He doesn't do any of his bookkeeping, or he does it himself, but he just does it completely all wrong, and he stresses himself out. No family time every night, just doing something. What's the worst case scenario when they hand this over to you? Like, even
Well,
if there even is a absolute worst, but tell something that's just like that's horrible.
so we're actually changing our strategy a bit on this. Um, we used to do this pricing model where we would charge you a block of time to do your work. And,
Okay.
our bookkeeper's time is currently charged out at about $85 an hour. And we charge anywhere between 10 and 20 hours initially to do your cleanup work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we actually, not to plug you guys gutter growth, but you guys are coaching your gutter people about how to increase or really hone in on their revenue stream. And we, as accountants, we subscribe to a peer group as well, and they're telling us that we should actually approach those cleanup jobs as not pricing them at a discount rate because we're doing all the work, basically in bulk, but
Mm-hmm.
that actually should be a premium
Yes.
so that our monthly bill is actually less than what you would pay us to
Yep.
clean up your books.
I
So in
like
other
that.
words, incentivize your your clients to pay you on a monthly basis versus come at the end of the year and just pay you one big cleanup fee.
That makes a
So
lot of sense. And essentially, because you're not like we're not talking high enough payment, to the flex keeper to just have one or two clients a whole year, right? You need a whole bunch of clients. You don't need one guy kicking tires, or just jamming up the lane with this massive cleanup mess where you feel like, hey, we'll help them out on the price a little bit with that because we've got them on the other side. That makes a lot of sense. Like, you guys do understand, and I don't mean you, Jason, but like having a CPA on your team and knowing your numbers is going to like put rocket boosters on your financial capabilities and your the way that your business is going to be able to be having you reinvest in it because you know where your money is.
yeah, absolutely. And we get a lot. Well, we don't get a lot, but we have clients that come to us and say, "Oh, you're charging me $300 a month, but you only, which is roughly, 3,600 a year, 4,000. Let's just call it 4,000 between friends."
Yeah, come on now.
But you only charge me $2,000 to clean up for the year. So why wouldn't I just have you clean up for the year? And so we as accountants even have to change our mindset and say, okay, we should really if you come to us to clean up your books, you should get a six grand bill, and then you'll be happy to pay us the $300 a month for the year. Plus, you hit the nail on the head. Now you can actually look at your QBO or whatever you're doing accounting in and make some good decisions based on margins and making sure that you're selling appropriately. Everything that you're preaching to your peer group, we're the tool that helps you make those smart decisions. So
Yes.
definitely getting on board to try and change this mentality.
No, that's fabulous. So like just jumping here just for shits and giggles, like you're our accountant.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
This is who we trust is the flex keeper, Jason. So I actually don't know the flex keeper. Is that like your split personality? Because I just know you. Was that like, I'm curious to know, like, what is, I don't mean split personality, but like the flex keeper, like that's you, right?
Well, not really. It's actually full transparency. The Flex Keeper is my wife's business. She owns it.
I was hoping you were getting, because I know,
Yeah,
so I was trying to.
yeah. So
Yeah.
she's the controlling interest in it.
Cool.
And as you see the logo behind me, the octopus. A lot of people love it. They ask, "Oh, what's the octopus?"
Mm-hmm.
We're really all about branding and brand awareness. And the Flex Keeper, the octopus, was chosen because there's a lot of arms, so we do a lot of different things for our clients. We're always juggling one thing or another, and that's kind of like, as the Flex Keeper, we're kind of your back office staff that keeps your business running. So I make up really just the tax portion of the business, and I'm the tax guru / entity setup guy. But
Okay.
but my partner and wife Jody, she's really does all the heavy lifting. And
Awesome.
obviously we can sit here and make jokes about running the house and all that stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she actually does all the bookkeeping. And it's actually not even called bookkeeping anymore. It's called record keeping, because I guess,
okay.
yeah, I don't know, bookkeeping maybe gets a bad rap in
The bookie.
whatever. Yeah. So, but she does all the hard work in it. And it's funny because I kind of get a lot of the credit because I'm the guy that produces the tax return at the end of the day, which is ultimately everybody's goal, to get their taxes done and filed. But she does all the heavy lifting in the background. So she's really the brains and soul of FlexKeeper. It was her kind of her branding that she did a couple of years ago. So, we're really, really happy with it. And, our team continues to grow and we continue to add to that back end staff. So we're kind of even started to specialize into different industries. The gutter company being one of those, we have a lead bookkeeper who we basically assign to all our gutter industry, and she basically does all our trades and everything like that, and she knows everything that there is about that. So that's really the kind of the the macrocosm of the octopus. We have many arms and we're juggling a lot of things, but we are also have many different industries that we're working in and keeping, and each industry, while accounting numbers is numbers, each industry, has its own challenges and kind of nuances that we are able to navigate because we have excellent staff led by my wife in doing these things.
Let's go, Jody. All right.
Yeah, she should be on your podcast next. She probably
let's do the next one. And I know we weren't able to catch up on the last trip. I'm in Florida in 2 more weeks, right outside of Tampa in Bradenton. So
yeah, when is that? Because we're actually slated to be on that side.
The 31st to the 2nd. We get in late on the 31st, so we're there the whole day of the 1st. We got a VRBO or whatever right there in Bradenton, off the canal. Ryan, a couple other guys. Tim's going to be out there, and we got the boat. So let's talk offline about that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think we're actually going to be in Port Charlotte, which is about an hour south of there for H2O Festival, Memorial Day weekend.
Let's make something happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to be out there all the time. We've got the Lighted Up landscaping company as well too that Tim opened, but I'm gracious enough to be a humble partner on that trip with him. So we've got a lot of things, and we've got some other stuff that's in the works. So we're gonna need you for a lot more. Trust me. I wanted to ask you real quick, like just about some of your pet peeves, man. Like, have you got a little small list of pet peeves or a funny story or just something about this past tax season that you're like beating your head against the wall about or wanted to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just this past tax season. I think it happens pretty much for all CPAs every tax season. But, my actual favorite story, and I'm wrapping a bunch of stories into one, but my favorite story this season is that we decided we were going to do this Facebook advertising. So we did a bunch of Facebook advertising for the FlexKeeper. We got out there on Facebook, and I have to say, the quality of leads that came out of the Facebook marketplace was quite hilarious. And so I don't know if you remember some of these memes, the lady that's talking about ain't nobody got time for that. We had one guy, it was actually a lady called in, and she gave us her number to call her for tax services, and I called her up, and she had no idea who I was. And she started going on. She was asking everybody like who was messing with her phone, who gave her phone number out. And like she didn't.
So she thought it was a cold call.
Yeah, she thought it was just a cold call, and that was pretty funny. And then of course that leads into we got hundreds of leads where it's just people kicking tires, right? So they call you up. They want to talk about, I have this tax situation. What do you think about it? Can you help me out? What should I do? Yeah. And so, you spend 15, 20 minutes with
you like 35 minutes, Jason. I mean, what's the low end of how much are you going to charge me for that 15 minutes of work?
Yeah, and we of course give free consultation. So, I should be better about this. But even I am, over my, 20 plus years of being a CPA, I used to give a lot of tax advice on that free thing. And now I give littler, I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a
littler.
word, but
Yeah,
littler
it could
tax
be here. Yeah.
advice. Like, hey,
Smaller.
send smaller tax advice. Hey, listen, I don't have 15 minutes to chat with you about your IRS problem or your dilemma, but send me an email and send me your tax documents and we'll take a look at it. And then and this is the first time that this has happened to me. So I'm always a little I always need to refine my methods, but this is the first tax season that I have prepared at least, I would say, 3 or 4 tax returns where I actually sent the tax return to the person and like never heard anything back. And then I have my assistant reach out to them like, hey, we did your tax return. Are you going to get back to us? And we get the old girlfriend ghosting or boyfriend ghosting. Equal opportunity employer. And that's been weird for me. Like,
Really?
I don't normally get ghosted.
Mm-mm.
I did have one gentleman respond and say, I never asked you to do the tax return. And then I had to forward him the email back to him where he actually asked me to do the tax return. And then, of course, it was radio silence from then on.
What do you think that is? I mean, just as for conversation purposes, I mean, there's like a million options, but just 3. People are just freaking smucks sometimes, and it's kind of basically theft of services. And unfortunately, it makes you start to posture on taking money up front and, blah, blah, blah. Is it that something does actually happen, or like, is it really just super, super, super hard times out there right now? And when they're getting their 1,800 or $9,000 back, they need every penny of it, and they're willing to go back to number one, which is people are just shitty and they don't want to pay you.
Well, I like to see the best in everybody.
Right.
So I think, I think for the majority of these people, they're kind of shopping around. And so they find somebody that they like better, or maybe they are in a
Guys
hurry
can
to
get them
get it
more
done.
or something.
Yeah, or somebody's a little shadier and they can play with the numbers more. I don't know exactly what it is,
Yeah.
but my recommendation to people out there that are shopping around is like, talk to the CPA, be very upfront with them. Say, I'm kind of looking at a bunch of different CPAs. And then if you've engaged him or you've sent him your tax stuff or whatever, just be like really, really nice and be like, hey, I've decided to go in a different direction. And just let them know, just it doesn't reflect, it reflects worse on you if you do this ghosting thing than if you just tell hey, listen, I didn't have that good vibe with you and I found this other guy. Or my friend, I was talking to my neighbor about my taxes and he said, oh, I got a great guy around the corner and you'll love him.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever. Like, I'm not gonna get offended at that. Although I do have to tell you, we did have somebody that came to us and we did some work for them and we basically helped them onboard their company into QuickBooks Online. And I didn't charge them to do that work because it was one of those things where I figured I was getting the business.
Yeah.
And they ended up, going someplace else after I chased them down. I did have my assistant reach out and chase them down. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And so I essentially sent them a bill. I said, hey, we did this work for you. And here's my bill. And to my surprise, they paid it immediately. So, I mean, there is humanity out there that's good. And recognizes that, maybe, people shouldn't necessarily work for free.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to call out that company by name or anything like that. But I do want to say, like, there is good people out there. And again, I understand completely. Circumstances happen. Maybe I can't listen in the gutter company. It's the same, right? If you're really, really busy, you may go to a house and they want their gutters done, next week. And you give them a quote and they, oh, that sounds good. But hey, we're going to do your gutters in a month. And maybe they go to the neighbor and be like, hey, I need my gutters done. And they get a recommendation of a gutter company that comes out and does them in a week. Hey, that's great. Just let that guy know that put you on his schedule that you went someplace else. I think that's just, it's just common courtesy.
Yeah. Communication is absolutely key. Absolutely key in that. Let's talk a little bit here briefly just about our partnership, and what we've got to offer. So I'll just start it off real quick. Found Jason through one of the partners, one of the owners of Gutter Growth, and since then are doing more business with you, and our intent is for you to be the CPA face of Gutter Growth. So we're really excited about that, and we trust Jason. And again, we use him to do our taxes. So anybody out there that's just thinking about how they're going to do all this accounting stuff, that's especially you guys that are in our group, but people that are thinking about being in our group, or people that are scaling all on their own or with a different group, just remember that each year your financial responsibilities are going to be larger and you're going to need a CPA. And so we recommend Jason 100%.
Yeah, we're super excited to be part of the Gutter Growth family. I mean, I look at your Facebook every day. It cracks me up.
Hold on, what's so funny about my Facebook?
Man, you just have so much stuff going on. Like, I don't know if you're in a NASCAR car tomorrow or if you're flying a jet into the Soviet Union or what you're doing, what you're going to be up to. But always makes me laugh. And then, of course, through your Facebook, I get a lot of your partners kind of feeds, and it's so inspirational sometimes to just look at business guys that are doing business right, and guys that have a kind of that I forget which one of your partners has used a lot of lion kind of
John
inspiration.
Majak, the owner. Yeah, John Majak, he's a motivational speaker. I mean, he's just a caring, genuine guy, but he also is the owner with John of Mr. Pipeline.
Right. Yeah. And John just has, just having that lion mentality in business is so inspirational. And we kind of like to follow that lead, and we like to align with people that have a success mentality. And listen, success isn't always about not failing. Success is about what you do after you make that mistake and have, maybe some setbacks. And that to me, just goes hand in hand with companies that we want to do business with that are, have that we want to succeed mentality. And listen, we've done lots of business with companies that have a we want to succeed at all costs mentality. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we want to succeed, but we also want people to understand that we care about you and your business success, and we care about you as a person, and seeing, we celebrate your guys' success, and in translation, your success is our success too, because if you make more money, at the end of the day, we make more money, and, we're all going to kind of be rowing that boat together. So, I always read, I read a lot of inspirational and kind of rah-rah type stuff. But, the one thing that I've, found out over the last couple of weeks and really stuck with me, and that is that, people don't remember the service that you give them. Like I could, I'm gonna, I can ask you like, hey, how did you like your tax return prep, 2 years ago? You're not going to remember that. But what you are going to remember is how I made you feel during that tax return prep, and your experience is based on, you were very, I really take pride when my clients come to me and they're like, you really made me understand how my taxes work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get involved in that, and I'm going to continue to use you to do that. Like, I don't need to understand, like what a P&L means and how to read it, but you just really made me feel comfortable about the process. And that to me is where we want to align, with companies and people that are genuinely make you feel good and feel and have this trust that they're invested in your success. And that's what I love, just looking at your Facebook and seeing the things that you guys are doing. And, that gives me a good feeling. And that's what I remember. I don't necessarily remember, even though, you've given me recommendations on guys that have done work at my house and they've been absolutely stand-up people.
Awesome.
And, again, I don't remember necessarily the work that these guys that you recommended did. They made me feel confident in what they were doing. And at the end of the day, they really made me feel good as a, homeowner. And so that's really what I love about looking at your guys' stuff and just being partners with you guys.
I appreciate that. I think here in closing, like that's the big picture of all of this. And just being able to help people across the country. You called me, you needed somebody to work. You're like, hey man, I guess you're probably the guy to ask. We got you in communication with somebody immediately, right? And we can do
Yep.
that for people like all over the country and some people out of the country even. So we are really happy to have you on the team, man. Anything else? Why don't you just tell for the people that might be driving and listening so they can just get it in their head once, what's the best way? What's your website or email address, whatever you want to.
Yeah, so our website is www.theflexkeeper.com with the V. A lot of people forget the, that all important THE at the beginning. And
Yep.
then my email is the same, Jason, Jason at theflexkeeper.com. Email is a really good way to get a hold of me, simply because, I would give you my personal cell. And all my clients have my personal cell, but you get a ton of texts a day. You never remember stuff in the text, but just shoot me an email and I'll have, someone on my team or myself personally set up something meeting. If you just want to chat about a tax problem, I'm more than happy. Again, I might not be everybody's cup of tea. I'm a hockey loving white Canadian boy living in South Florida. So, that may not be your style, and you maybe need, by the book, numbers guy, and that's fine too, but, just shoot me an email if, we don't vibe, and just tell me that, right?
Try it out.
But I'm more than happy to, obviously we've got a good momentum of gutter business, and we're excited to talk and chat with anybody, especially anybody that you recommend to us.
Absolutely. So, hey guys, Grant Hubbard here, Jason Plett, and I absolutely recommend the Flex Keeper. Don't wait till the end of the year to figure out your CPA situation. I don't want to speak for Jason, and you can reach out to him, but you guys that are watching that are thinking about getting into the gutter business, maybe you have another business, maybe this is going to be your first one. Reach out to Jason as well. I know that he's got some different packages that he can help you with, maybe getting started with just figuring out how to get your EIN, or should you be an LLC or an S corp, whatever that may be. Think that he can definitely point you in the right direction to those packages to help you let him serve you in through starting up your business and taking the right steps. So Jason, it was an absolute pleasure. Hey, you guys, look in the link below, hit that like and subscribe button, and Jason's website and email address will be in the link as well. So Jason, it was an absolute pleasure. Until next time, brother.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it, man.